Coffee check. Dog check. Hey, it's Cliff, and in this video, I am going to show you the absolute worst advice I have ever seen on the Dave Ramsey Show. And specifically, it comes from George Kamel. To be fair, I think typically he's not that bad. He has usually some reasonable advice to give. It's usually followed by logic, but in this case, it was not at all. I don't know if he was just having an off day or what, but this was absolute terrible advice. Part of me thinks it's because when you work for a corporation as big as Ramsey Solution or even bigger, you get these good idea fairies that come into place that make this strict corporate rhetoric that you need to follow. And if you deviate from the rhetoric a little bit, you will be canned. And when your employees are fearful of being fired, you get into this motion of them becoming robotic. They don't really think for themselves. They're going to go through that foundation that you set for them and follow it strictly to a T. Now, 9 times out of 10, that usually works until you get to situations like this where you need to deviate outside of that framework and use your brain. And when you have people not using their brain, you get situations like this where George Kamel tells a 86-year-old woman that she's a lazy bum and needs to get a job and get rid of her dogs. Good boy.
I have a couple of options, but I really don't know what to do. I'm 86 years old.
86.
I have only Social Security.
Okay.
I own my own home. I own my car.
Good.
But I have
Yeah, so far she's not doing too bad. She's 86. You know, she sounds like she's practically on her deathbed, so that's not great. But she has a paid off house. She has Social Security. So what's the issue?
about almost $30,000 credit card debt.
30K. Okay, credit card. That's going to be really bad interest rate.
I have making minimum payments, but I'm only left with maybe $100, $200 a month to eat, put gas in the car.
Okay.
Now, I do have help from a daughter and an ex-husband that
Nice.
feeds me, as I need it. If I make a suggestion, but it's embarrassing that I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I think about selling the car. It's 17 years old. I won't buy another one.
Just looking at this information so far, it's 30K. It's on her credit cards, but she's 86. She sounds like she's on her deathbed. Not trying to be offensive, but realistically, 86, she doesn't sound great. What are they going to do? She's 86 years old. They're not going to come after her. She should just not pay on these credit cards.
But I'm pretty much going to be grounded.
What's the car worth?
Which, well, it's a Crown Victoria.
I don't think that's going to make a dent in your credit card debt.
Yeah.
I'd rather you keep
Absolutely
the
not.
car to get
I
around.
know. Yeah, true.
How's she going to get her groceries if she doesn't have the car?
Or sell the house. That's what I want to know.
Oh boy.
And get an apartment.
Absolutely not.
Well, the problem is right now you have a fixed expense with this paid for house.
Right.
So if you sold it to pay off your credit card debt, that leaves you with an expense that's ongoing and increasing. And with your Social Security, I don't know that you're going to be able to afford the payment of the rent.
How much do you get every month?
Or like 2K.
11,198.
Oh, that's even
Almost
less than what I thought.
1,000.
So about $1,200 a month.
1,200
Right,
bucks.
And what are your monthly expenses right now? You're saying you have $100 left over. So you need about $1,100 to live, or $1,000?
No. The reason I'm in credit card debt is I always need about $200 more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use the credit card, and then I'll start paying the minimum payments, and then the interest starts hitting on them, and they build. Now, the last 2 or 3 months, I had like almost $3,000 in car repair and some other $700 to the dentist.
Yeah.
And so
You just
all
have
that
no
went on.
cushion. You have no cushion to pay for anything that comes up beyond your $1,100 a month, right?
And because she has no cushion, she's looking at these credit cards like look at the interest that's racking up. I'm never going to be able to pay this off. And realistically, she's never going to be able to pay it off. She's absolutely right. But at this point in your life, don't stress about it. I mean, they're not going to come after you.
Unless I beg it from either a daughter or an ex.
I'm sorry.
She shouldn't be begging.
I'm so sorry. Joan,
Well,
this is not
I
a
know.
fun place to be. What is your house worth?
My health.
Your house. What's it worth?
If he tells her to sell the house, I'm going to be pissed. He should not be telling her to sell the house. I don't know if he's about to say that, but that's not going to be financially well off for her. And not to mention, this is an old lady. It's an old lady. Don't make her move out of her house. She's probably been there for at least 10 years.
Well, what do you mean by that?
If you
were to
sold
sell
it today, what could you get for it?
Oh, my house. I thought you
Yes.
meant- Oh, the house is probably worth $195,
Okay, 195
maybe
on the house.
$250.
Okay.
That's a big.
But on either side, the houses have built around me, and they're worth $600,000 and $500,000.
Why is yours so low?
Yeah.
No updates.
Is it in rough shape?
No, mine is just old. When I came here 21 years
It might be worth a little bit more than what she thinks it is. But either way, she shouldn't be selling the house for a $30,000 debt.
ago. there
Oh,
was
they
nothing
built a
but
bunch of new houses
trailer.
around you.
Yeah, they built everybody around me,
Okay.
and I don't have an HOA, and everybody else.
Are you at the point where you could move in with your daughter?
Well,
Mm.
I could, but I'm not too sure.
Why would she move in with her daughter? Why would you want to take her independence away for a $30,000 debt that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things?
Some health problems, but they're under control.
Well, the problem is, let's
I
say
don't
if I
know.
snap my
I'm
fingers and got
independent.
you out of credit card debt, you're going to be back in $30,000 of credit card debt because you're using the credit cards to float your life and expenses.
Well, I promised her that from now on I would ask her after if I have to charge something.
But you're still
Uh,
behind $200 a month, which you're using credit cards for, you told us.
So you've got your
I know.
That's not going to change
Yeah,
anytime soon.
she's
you've
not
got
making
your
enough with
daughter,
just Social
and do you have
Security.
other kids, or is it just her?
Yes, but that wouldn't be possible.
Okay, so your daughter has said, "Mom, let me know before you charge this credit card. Tell me, and I'm going to try to help you out." Basically, right?
Yes.
So, like you said, it's embarrassing and it's tough, but your options are you either reach out to your daughter and you say, "Hey, you told me that this lifeline is here, and the truth is, I need $200 every month in order to be able to live and not spend any more on this credit card. That $200 will help me make my minimum payments and not go over." If you said that to her, is she on board and to say, "Okay, I'm going to help you in that way"? And then, because the other option is we might have to look at this house, which doesn't really make sense because of the cost of living today. Like, there's not really an option.
I know.
No,
you
it
know,
doesn't make
that's
sense to
what-
sell the house at
Yeah,
all.
that's one thing that's made it gone up more. Well, okay.
Your expenses are $1,400 and you're bringing in $1,200. That's the truth at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
Because you're going $200 into
Mhm.
debt on the credit cards.
Yes.
So we need
Right.
to find a way to either lower our expenses somehow or increase our income.
Well,
I
I
don't
wrote-
know we're going
yeah,
to find a
I
way to
wrote
increase
that-
income.
I wrote down every penny I spent this past month,
Mhm.
and
Could you
trying to
downgrade an
see-
in-house? If you sold it for $250, could
Well,
you go
do-
buy a place
do-
for $200?
Why would she downgrade? She is on death's door. This lady doesn't need to move.
I'm not sure in Florida right now.
Jacksonville.
I mean,
Or even an
by
apartment?
the clock. No, it's a house.
I'm saying, could you downgrade to an apartment?
She doesn't need to downgrade.
Oh, well, I could go. Yeah, I mean, I could, but I'm 86 years old. I mean,
I know, but we
She's
also
saying
didn't set
it.
ourselves up for a bright future in retirement.
She's 86,
No,
bro.
So this is
I
part of
had-
it, is we got to deal with the
no,
ramifications.
I was a single mother since I was 19 years old.
She's a single mother. She couldn't afford to save.
No child support, and I worked until I was almost 80.
What were you doing for work?
I mean, I was well, maybe I better not say. I worked in a pharmacy technician.
Okay. Is there something you could do to make a little bit of extra money right now? Are you able to get around and do that?
No, she's 86 years old. What is she gonna do? Nobody's gonna hire her. If he tells her that she needs to do DoorDash, I'm really gonna get pissed.
Oh yeah, I get around. I mean, I
I think we
can
might
get
need to
help.
find a little part-time job to clean up this debt and increase
No, she's too old. She should be watching The Price is Right.
her income
Well,
if you're
yeah.
able-bodied. It's not fun,
Yeah.
but this might be your only option other than selling the house and downgrading to an apartment that you pay cash for.
If that lady gets a job, let's just say somebody actually takes her. She goes to work at Walmart as a door greeter. She very well might die on the Walmart sales floor. She might actually have a heart attack there and her life is completely over. Just let her die with dignity. She maybe has another 4 years or so left. You know, who knows how long she's going to live, but it's not going to be very long. Let's just be realistic.
Which allows you to clean up the credit card debt.
I've had it for 21 years. I don't really have I really
Right. She's been living in this house for 21 years and you want her to move now. Just let her die with dignity, man.
don't have a high energy level. And I have a dog. And the dog, I was going to tell you the expenses the dog costs.
And to be honest, her family probably doesn't come around very often. The only thing that she has is this dog to keep her company. That's the only thing stopping her from being lonely.
The dog was the biggest expense.
No, I bet. I know. I got two little French bulldogs, and they're the biggest line item in my budget right now. So, Joan, I'm so sorry.
It was $108 or $181 for the dog.
Every
On
month?
the credit.
Ooh.
No, just this month.
Okay.
Because
Just
we got
this month?
sick.
Just a month.
Oh,
yeah.
Joan, I'm so sorry. You have
Dogs
been
can be
through it.
expensive though.
I would definitely look at downgrading a house and going to an apartment you pay cash for, getting rid of the credit card debt. If you need to rehome the dog, I'd rather you eat before the dog.
Absolutely not.
So that's
absolutely not tell this 86-year-old lady to get rid of the dog. That's probably the only thing in her life keeping her going. You get rid of the dog, she's dead immediately, which I guess, you know, according to them, probably problem solved right there. But so there you have it. That's probably the worst advice I've ever seen on the Dave Ramsey Show. And I know during COVID, there was some pretty bad advice going around. So yeah, George Kamel, you really had an off day there. And like I said before, typically they give relatively good advice. You can argue back and forth on the should you pay your house off early, should you not invest before you paid off your debt, you know the different kind of equations where it's like, should I be investing before I paid off debt? All those things that you can argue are wrong, or maybe you were actually for them. That's fine too. But this one was just wrong. It was just bad. This was just bad advice. Just let her die, man. Just let her die. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. As always, thank you for watching.